where I don't really talk about the belief so much, as I talk about more of the reasons behind the beliefs, how people believe what they believe. And do you have any questions about that before we begin?
More the how or the why?
The how.
Interesting. Okay, if I can, okay.
The how.
I'll try to help you with that.
When I first started doing this, I was concentrating more on why. I find it more useful to talk about how. So we can talk about that.
Ah, that's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll try to grasp that. That's hard to put my head around. Okay,
And I'll point it out when it's happening.
okay.
Do you happen to have an important belief you wish to discuss?
Christianity.
Sure.
Yeah, let's talk about Christianity.
That's great. And by
Catholicism.
Christianity, what do we mean?
The belief in a higher being guiding you in your daily life.
The belief in a higher being guiding you in a daily life. But if it's Christianity, I'm going to assume it's not just any higher being.
It's going to be particular,
particular
right?
higher being.
Because that's what man has sort of guided us.
So but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No.
Because I've heard I know by now to try to understand definitions, what people mean.
Yeah.
So do we mean by a specific deity, or do we mean like any deity when we talk about?
No, just like, so belief in God.
In God.
For Christians, they believe in, God or Jesus. They believe in God.
God or Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I understand.
Yeah. Good.
Good.
I love these clarification questions.
Well, I'm going to ask you more.
Okay, good.
A couple more. Now, by God and Jesus, are we talking about the same God, or are they different gods?
That's the big question, because I think over the years, in my experience of just listening to people and the understanding of it, is it the same, but it's supposed to be the one?
Well, I want to know your belief.
Oh, my belief.
This is your belief. Your belief.
So I believe in God, one God.
So Jesus and God, we're talking about the same God. Okay.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've had these conversations and we're talking about two different,
Right.
and it can become confusing because
It can,
I get it now. What's that?
It can be.
Okay, the same God. On a scale from 1 to 7, how confident are you that this belief is true and real?
7 being the highest?
7 is the highest.
7.
And on a scale from 1 to 7, how important is it for you to believe in true things that are true and real?
7.
How do you know your belief is true? How?
I feel like my belief is true through a life experience I had. So
the primary way you know your belief is true is a feeling you've had from a life experience.
yes.
And I don't have to know the life experience.
Oh, I can tell you the life experience.
Okay.
So when I was 19, I was in a major car accident.
Oh, wow.
Major. And I'm here today.
Yeah, wonderful.
So I think there's a lot of belief.
I see.
I remember the priest coming to my room when I'm laying there, not really there or there. A lot of praying was going on. A lot of things were happening. And here I am.
I see.
So,
Well, I understand why that's such a powerful
yeah,
belief for
so
you.
to me, in my scope of my life experience, that
Yeah.
has been helpful to support why I might be able to believe.
Okay. Maybe a thought experiment will help me.
Okay.
Let's say there's Jane,
Okay.
and Jane lives in Iran.
Okay.
And Jane is Islam. She follows the Quran, and she believes she's a Muslim. And Jane, when she was a kid, was in a car accident. And because of that car accident, she has a really strong belief in Allah. I'm a third person. I just hear you and Jane talk, and it's amazing that you guys basically have a same situation. Is there any way is there a way I could find out what's true, what's real in the world by hearing you guys describe what seems to be the same situation that brought you to vastly different beliefs?
But are they very different?
What's that?
But are they different?
Well, I guess maybe I'm making an assumption that if you believe in Allah as God, you're not believing in Jesus and is God, and if you believe Jesus is God, maybe you're not believing Allah is God. Maybe that's an assumption of mine.
So I see it's interesting because I
Is that
see
assumption of yours or no?
No, I see it that parallel. Like we're both like if we both have a belief, and the belief is supported by an event.
The belief supported by what?
By an event. If the belief is supported by an event, even though our belief, I believe this way, she believes that way, we're parallel to each other.
I'm confused. I'm sorry, I'm a little
And
confused.
that's okay.
It's my fault.
No. If
Could Jesus be God and Allah be God?
Yeah.
Could that both be true at the same time?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, how?
Why not? So I think we, when I say man, I mean constructively all people, men and women, mankind, we have constructed ways of organization and organizing things into boxes, and because mental clarity, I have all this stuff. How do I organize it? Right? My belief system, how I live, whatever, money, ideas in the world. Like we do that with numbers, right? We all have bank account numbers. We're all individualized by a certain thing. So we have created that.
So just to understand your belief.
Yes.
Your belief is that Jesus is a real God and Allah is a real God.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have the choice to, because I could.
Because it doesn't matter what we. So why don't you become a Muslim?
I could.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. But I don't think people realize they could, because we box ourselves into a tradition or a role, and we as mankind sort of perpetuate that. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying the belief, and that's why I try to get definitions at the beginning, because sometimes I get down this far and I should have asked more clarifying definitional questions to really understand how you believe the belief. How. And so, what if Tanya, she lives in this country, she had this experience that you did with a car accident. Tanya is an atheist.
Okay.
Tanya doesn't believe in any God.
Okay.
And she's had the very similar experience that you had. And I want to know what's true. First of all, can your belief and her belief be true at the same time, just like the other beliefs? Or is that not possible?
Does she have a belief if Tanya's an atheist?
Can her non-belief in God and your belief in God be both true?
Oh, can the result be the same?
Can you have a non-belief in, first of all, can you have a non-belief in God and a belief in God, and both of those beliefs be true?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, so those are opposing. Okay. She believes her belief, you believe your belief. I'm trying to find out what belief is true. Is there a way I can find out?
I don't think we can. I think it's bigger than us.
So we can't figure that out.
And do we have to?
No. But I'm wondering if, what did I use? What's the name I used? Jane?
Tanya.
Tanya?
Jane in Afghanistan.
Tanya was right.
Tanya's
I use so many names. But I'm wondering if Tanya believes her belief, let's say or lack of belief, at a 7, and you believe your belief at a 7, seems like maybe someone might not be correct here.
Why do we have to be correct then?
We don't have to.
I know. That's the whole.
But on a scale from 1 to 7, I asked you how important is it for you to believe in true things. You said a 7. Do you want to reduce your number?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's very important for you to believe in true things, and you're not sure how we could distinguish whether her belief is true and whether your belief is true.
So therefore, I'm boxing my world in and my own psyche of saying I believe in these things because they're important to me, and they're important. Tanya believes those things for her.
You believe them because they're important to you or because they're true?
You're right, because I can't verify if my belief is factually true, if we're breaking down what truth is.
I'm wondering if we could have an important belief, and that belief defines us and guides us, yet that belief not be true.
Who's to say what's true and what's not true, though? So that's
And
like,
by
what are
true,
my factors?
I mean by factually correct.
So we're talking very scientific. I have to have data. I have to have things to
well,
support
whether
this.
something, and that's a great thing to bring up.
Right.
When I think about truth, and if you can think about completely different, and again, we'll have to
Right.
go with our definitions. When I think of something is true, it doesn't matter what I believe about it, it's just true. For example, here's a box of Mentos, and let's say there's an even or odd number of Mentos in this box. There's either an even or odd number of Mentos, and it doesn't matter what I believe about it, it's just true. And that's what I think about with truth. It doesn't depend on me, it's just some objective thing
Right.
that doesn't matter. I could not exist and that thing would still be true. What do you think?
Right. I get that now.
So is your belief true in that sense?
That's really hard.
Yeah, it is. That's a hard question.
It's a hard question.
And that's fair.
It's fair because now.
No, I'm saying it's fair to say that's hard
it's
because
hard.
that is a hard question I've asked you. Yeah. And
Mark, I don't know.
well, I really want to know what you think.
Well, I think I don't know. Like I believe because I want to believe. So if we're going like how people think, or maybe how I think, I want to believe it's true because it's helped support me through a traumatic event.
I get it. I get that.
Right. So.
And that's a powerful reason to hold a belief.
Right.
Completely powerful reason to hold a belief.
Right.
I get
but
it.
whether it was true or not, and if you told me.
Yep.
If you could prove it on paper with data and facts, just knowing what I know about how data and facts work, about things being true and not true, and then say, well, no, it had nothing to do with that, I could go, okay, it might be hard for me to ingest.
And sometimes
and
it's hard to
process.
tease those apart. Do I believe something because it's really and really important that I believe it and it's defining and it's because of, let's say, a traumatic event, or do I believe it's just because it's a true fact, it's a fact that's true about the world, and I just believe it because it's factually true? And sometimes, I think my thought is, and tell me what you think, part about being human, quintessential about being human, it's hard for us to distinguish those things sometimes.
Yes, that is hard for us to see because we put ourselves in these. We have a box and we put all our stuff in our box and we're safe in our box and we can say, okay, these are all things because it makes me be who I am because I have all these things about me in my box, in my container of my world, right?
Now I have an important question for you, and that's going to kind of decide where we go from here.
Okay.
With your belief, whether it is true, whether you believe this belief because what it serves you in your life versus whether it's factually true, do you want to know or do you not want to know? Or does it matter to you? I want to know. So you would want to know whether...
I would be willing to have the raw experience of knowing if it was factually right and whether or not I could reevaluate and go, oh.
So you would want to know whether you believe the belief, whether...
If someone was willing to tell me. I'm not saying I'm going to go research on my own.
I don't have the answer.
Right.
But
if someone said, hey, this is what I've come up with, I could analyze that and go, okay.
Well, that's interesting. And I think I'd want to know too, with those kind of beliefs.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there is a way to know, if there are somehow a test or some way, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head with a belief like this, is there a way we could show someone's belief was false if it happened to be false? You know what I mean? And maybe this is something we could discuss together, how we would decide how we could do that. And
right.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head
you have to create the parameters.
How we would do that. Because I imagine there could be a way, like, am I believing something because it's factually true, or am I believing something because it's serving something in my life, or both? It could be both. And how I could find that out.
A lot of people may not want to know.
But you say you'd want to.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how would you be able to tell yourself that?
Life is hard.
Said it? Was that?
Life is hard, so you have to kind of think what's important to you to keep you going, right? To keep your beliefs. I think most people create their beliefs based on their environment and their people. And
how would we know whether your belief is a belief that you created versus a belief whether it's true?
Because, right. Ooh, that concept is so hard to define.
I know, it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how we could do it.
Yeah. there's a lot of, so if you bring science into it,
So like
right,
a test.
right?
An
There's,
objective test, you're
right.
saying?
And right now, people don't believe a lot of things that science already proves.
Yeah,
So
so
there's
how
a
can
lot
we,
of
so
mindsets out
you
there.
mentioned science.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of, so the belief is that Jesus Christ is a God,
Right.
and would there be a test that we could run to be satisfied?
No.
Whether no. So it seems like that's a belief that that's a belief
Right.
that we couldn't falsify.
Right.
That's a belief we couldn't find out that it was false if it happened to be false.
Right.
Do you think that we should believe intensely in beliefs that we can't show to be false if they happen to be false?
Now say that slower so I understand that. So do
My
we
apologies.
believe? No, that's okay.
Do you think we should believe in any belief?
Yes.
Any belief that
Yes.
can't be shown to be false?
Yes.
We should.
Yes. Because I call that hope.
Believing in beliefs that we can't show are
that are
false,
true, that are false,
that
or
might
right.
be false, is your definition of hope.
Some I think falls into that category. Not all, but I would, having the belief definition of itself, I think gives purpose. And again, without us just being humans and without floundering, having purpose gives direction, and direction gives sort of efficiency and life and ideas and creativity. So like it
I see what
all
you're saying.
bundles out of,
If that person's
how I view
belief happened to be, let's say that person's belief did happen to be false,
yeah.
whoever's belief, and they believe it, is it still hope? If it, let's say somehow
For
we
that
know,
particular,
if we know somehow that it's false, is it still hope to have that hope that they're believing in something that we know is not true? Is that hope?
for that particular person, it might be hope. That's what I'm saying. Hope is different for everybody.
No, I don't want you. That's
Yeah,
what I'm trying
yeah,
to get
yeah,
your definition. Yeah.
And also, belief systems
Yeah.
for people, but if a belief system hurts other people,
Right.
to me, that's not a belief.
A belief that hurts other
So-
people is not a belief.
People who hurt other people because they believe a certain way or
Yeah.
a certain thing and want other people to participate in their belief, even though it's harmful and those people don't wish to be harmed,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
Right. And you're saying with your belief has
It's an individual specific to me. I don't carry it or
not,
push it
and
to
not
anybody
just you,
else.
but people believe in your belief, they wouldn't be able to hurt somebody because
Right.
of your belief.
Because there are some beliefs people believe out there that hurt, and they intentionally hurt other people based on that, and that's
Could
not
your
cool.
belief be held by a different, not you, by a different
Yeah.
person, and that person hurt somebody based on that belief?
They could. I guess they could.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, because we can all believe. So there can be a group of people that believe in like God, but those people could be bad, and they could hurt people. They might, whatever. So everyone's different. Their mental state is different, right? And how they carry out their beliefs could be different.
Yeah.
And they may not have hope, or they may think their last hope is to hurt somebody else, which is not. To me, that hurts the system I believe in, because I'm just doing it for myself. I'm not pushing it on to anybody
Yeah.
else or bringing anybody else into
not
it.
trying to push beliefs on
It's
anybody.
right.
Right. I understand.
I believe it should be a personal thing.
I understand.
So
How do you think this conversation went?
I think it's awesome. It triggers so many like layers, or like an onion here, just peeling away
So
the
now you
different
say
avenues.
how you believe instead of why you believe. I want to know how you actually form beliefs. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Environmentally, we as mankind have put this on ourselves of different. Here are your choice boards. Pick one.
Well, thank
That's
you.
just how we do it.
Do you have any questions for me?
This is amazing. How long have you been doing it?
3 years.
What do you think?
I've had hundreds of conversations.
Yes.
And even when people have the same beliefs, they're typically, the epistemology, how they form the beliefs are really quite different.
Yeah.
So I find that what's most fascinating about it. And the reason why I do this is because, and I started doing this, is that we live in a time where a lot of us have intense beliefs that run up against other people's intense beliefs, and it seems to be causing us problems.
It does.
In our present
and they're not
moment.
willing to be open to say it's not true. Like, we need people to be nicer, and we
I
need people
agree.
to be more thoughtful, and that it's okay that other people have ideas.
Last thing.
It's got to be that way.
The last thing, in the very beginning of the conversation, I asked you on a scale from 1 to 7,
Yeah.
how confident are you that your belief is true? Are you at a 7 still?
I'll bring it down to a 6.
Wow. Okay. And on a scale from 1 to 7, how important is it for you to believe in true things? You still at a 7?
7.
Thank you.
7.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is really delightful.
This is great.
And
I'm so glad
you know
to
what?
meet you.
To reduce the number like that doesn't happen much. And it takes I think, and it's my belief, but I think it takes, there's some reflection involved to adjust your number up or down.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I like when that happens, it says to me that the person I'm talking to is really reflected on the conversation. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. We
Thank
have
you.
to be reflective as a society.
I know, right?
If not, we're stagnant.
Right. I know.
We can't be stagnant.
I know.
We got to be able to
Right.
navigate through life.
I agree.
Life is different than how we grew up
Isn't it?
for our kids. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
So, thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much.
This will be a good podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.